we looked at the things that went well last season and the things that didn't go so well. And we showed glimpses with the ball that we were very, very effective. I think the reality of last year was that we didn't have the ball enough and we held the ball for the least amount of phases. So we gathered a lot of information from different areas. So statistically looked at where we were successful and where we weren't, and also the trends in the game and where they were moving. We recognised that attacks were being rewarded by the referees for holding onto the ball for longer. And what I mean by that is less penalties were given against the attacking team at the breakdown, which is really important for the game. I think, first of all, it allows people to take more risk, particularly in and around the halfway line, and players and teams will play with more freedom. So I think the referees have a big impact in that, and where the game is moving allows teams to play with a little bit more intent, particularly in and around the halfway line. For us, we gathered that information. We also looked at the strengths in our team, the profile of our team, not only the players, but where we were successful last year. And this allowed us to come to a conclusion of the game that we wanted to play. What that looks like for us, I think last year we probably kicked as a proactive thought. And what I mean by that is we were kicking before we lost momentum to avoid the risk of being turned over and the consequence of that. The reality of the Premiership, if you get turned over or a penalty against you in and around the halfway line, you're going to end up in your 22. And with the strength of all the teams involved in the competition, it's not a nice place to be. So we have looked at the referees, the profile of our team, and what it's led us to is playing with a little bit more freedom and allowing the players to make better decisions in and around our kicking game, with the thought process of rebuilding to move the ball to space first, which will then allow us to make the decision whether we keep hold of the ball or kick. There is still an incredible amount of discipline that goes into an attacking game, and I think the thought process that we're going to suddenly turn into a sevens team and be running from everywhere would be a little bit naive. The reality of the Premiership is you have to make good decisions wherever you are on the pitch. We just need to give ourselves and our key decision makers the opportunity, if it is there, to take it. The guys that have come in obviously have an incredible amount of experience at the highest level under the most amount of pressure. For them, the decisions that they make at that level have huge consequence. That ability to educate some of our younger halfbacks and our very, very gifted younger halfbacks will be massive for the group. Ultimately, they're the guys in the key positions that are going to make the decisions around whether we need to keep the ball in front of our forward, whether we're not getting anything out of the possession at that time. And they're very, very experienced at that, and we're excited to have them on board, and we've already seen the effect that they can have on the team and on the other players in their positions. It's a very, very difficult space to be. You have to make quick decisions around whether the team is moving forward or not. What's really important is that they'll have 13 other guys prepared to support them in any decision that they make. They'll be behind the ball if we want to run the ball, and they'll be ready to chase kicks if we choose to kick the ball. The identity of this team is always going to heavily involve set piece and defence. In the previous years, we had a top 4 set piece and a top 4 defence, and we're looking to get that back, and we know we can achieve that. Ultimately, that's always going to be very, very important in the Premiership. We're going to need to be strong at the attacking more, defensive more, and our defence is going to be incredibly important for us winning games. The attack's going to fit into that and combine with those two areas, and we're going to need each area to get us out of trouble at some point throughout the season. Pre-season is always an incredibly engaging time. It's probably the best opportunity to improve the players that you have, and you get no games at the weekend, which means you get to explore a little bit more in training. Everyone always believes they're having a good pre-season. I think you don't get the feedback until you play the game, so I'm looking forward to us playing games. But the playing group have been fantastic. They really bought into it. I think the lads want to have the ball in hand, so it's an easy sell for me. They're incredibly excited about moving our attacking game forward and building on some of the foundations that we had last year, where we were good in spells but not consistent enough with the ball. So they've been fantastic. They've had energy every time we've got on the pitch. They've wanted to improve as individuals, which ultimately as a coach is all you can ask for. I think the challenge for us is continuing that when the games come thick and fast, the pressure of winning and losing. We need to keep improving our players, and we'll get the reward hopefully throughout the season. Wadey's been fantastic. I think, like, first of all, his energy is infectious. I think as a bloke, having him in and around the dressing room has been incredible. On field, like, he's still got it. Personally, I remember him bouncing off people, dancing around people for Wasps, and thankfully we've seen that, which has been brilliant. We've seen that in training, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that in games. He's obviously an incredibly exciting individual when he has possession of the ball. So our job as coaches, as a team, is to get him the ball in space, and hopefully we can do that this year.